and welcome to this little mini tutorial on how to create pretty letters. So what I am going to do right now is outline 4 steps of creating pretty letters. There's 4 things that you need to do, 4 things you need to keep in mind, and I will show you exactly how you can manipulate different letters to make them look how you would like them to look. Now, in the second part of this, I will show you how to create this specific verse. It says, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you," from Job 42:5. And I will show you exactly how you can do that, exactly how I laid out the letters and the words, and how I decided on what type of scripts and what type of fonts to use for each word. That will be in the second section, and that second section is included as a bonus in our Bible Study Boss course, and I'll give you the link to that at the end of this. But this one is your freebie. This one is going to teach you exactly how you can create really cool letters. Okay, so there are 4 things that you need to keep in mind, all right? First, there are 3 font types. There's capital, lowercase, and script. Everything comes from those 3 types of fonts. If you can write your name, you can make pretty letters. I promise you. You do not have to be an artist to be able to make pretty letters. I promise. Okay, so let me just take you through a couple different ways you can manipulate these so that you can create different lettering. All right, so number 2, you could change the center lines. So this is a normal way of writing it. And you see the center line is right in the middle, and you've seen these when you were practicing in like first grade or something, trying to write stuff. You would see the solid lines, and then you'd see the center line right there. So this is just regular. This is regular. And that can look fine too. Totally fine. Now to change it up a bit, you could move that center line to the top. So instead of, for example, writing, I'm just going to turn it right here so I can write. So instead of writing your H like this, you could write your H like this. Just gives it a little extra flair, right? You could start your S like I did here. Instead of just making it just like a regular S, you would start the turn way up at the top instead. Just gives it a little bit extra. It just looks a little different, right? It looks really cool. Okay, so you can make the center line toward the top. You could also make the center line toward the bottom, okay? So down here you can see my R. Instead of making the R really teeny tiny at the top and real long legs, I made the circle part, the rounded part at the top really big and really short legs. Same with the S. So instead of making my normal S, I'd start it and make it go way around, way down, and then loop it around just a little bit. My H then would look like this. So everything is kind of squished toward the bottom. You can kind of see I did that a little bit up here. I did some capital letters mixed in with some lowercase letters, and I just made the center line go down toward the bottom. Now right here I did capital and lowercase, but I made the center line go toward the top. You see how that is? And you see the lowercase h? So the lowercase h, instead of being like this, it would be like this. Now, I understand if you have an N, you're going to want to be a little bit careful of that, but your N wouldn't start way at the top because that's where an H starts. An N would start right like that. Okay? So you can kind of see the difference, and hopefully you'll be able to figure that out. And you can kind of see the difference here. I probably could have extended this a little bit and extended this a little bit to make this a little taller, or maybe lowered the N just a little bit, just to give it more of a definition between the N and the H. But I will show you in the next tutorial how to fix when you make mistakes. So the other thing you could do is you could change the width, okay? You could change the width. So right here you see where I wrote car really skinny and can really skinny. Now you can separate them as well and make them a little wider. And you want to, when you do each of these, you're going to make the letters thinner or wider, but you're also going to make the space in between them teeny bit wider here, and then in the thin lettering you'd make the space a teeny bit closer together, a bit thinner too. Okay, you can see this is uppercase, and then this is script. Now this script is really popular right now, where you just kind of drag your hand to create it. So I'll kind of show you how I sort of do that. You want to give the illusion of something long, you want to start with a long tail. So you start with a long tail, and I'm just going to actually, I'll write over it in a different color so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll write the word friend, okay? So we're going to start with a long tail. We're just going to come down and write our F. And see how I'm spacing it out to start the R? I'm not just writing like, I'm not just writing the F and the R close together. I'm spacing it out, okay? So R, space out I, space out E, space out N, space out D, and continue with the tail, okay? Now, what I probably would do, instead of curling the tail up, I probably should have just done it straight like that to give it the illusion of length. And the I is there. Almost dotted my E. Okay, so the last thing that you need to keep in mind is don't be perfect, okay? You can correct things with embellishments. You can correct them with line width. You can correct them or you could just be messy because messy handwriting is popular right now. So what I would do here is maybe I would start then making this an embellishment like this. But then I would probably also want to do it over here to make it look like I meant to do it. And then I could maybe create some lines and then maybe come down with an embellishment here. Just something to give it some continuity, something like that, okay? The other thing that you can do is if you mess up on the width in between each lettering, you could come around and just make the lettering a little wider and color it in, or skinnier, or, you know, loosen it up right here. And then you could do it over here too. So you can kind of just fill in a little bit to help you out if you've messed up. And look at the change, the way those letters look now. They're totally changed. You can also, if you want to, you know, say your pen just kind of went like that, like, oh no, I messed it up. Well, not really. We can come around and just kind of make a little embellishment. Dots, lines, swirls, those kinds of things. See? And that totally changed the way that looked, and it was because I messed up, right? So now up here, where I had kind of said, I probably should have made that a little taller, probably should have made that a little smaller, what I could do is come back and I could maybe make this like a double line like that, and then I could do that, because with capital letters, with the first letter, you can make them look differently than the rest of the word if you'd like, okay? So I would just kind of extend that a little bit, and then now see the H and the N look differently, right? If I said, oh, that's not really, I kind of wanted that a little more of a capital too. Well, I could just come around and do that again, just like that, okay? And then I would probably want to keep it congruent over here with the L, so I'd probably just go, just make a little line. That's it. Okay, so the idea is you can correct with embellishments, you can correct with line width, like what we did here and here. You can correct with embellishments here And then over here, the other thing that you can do is if there's just, you know, it's not looking quite right, you can just kind of come in and do little swirlies. And then pretty soon, it will look like it's supposed to be there, you know? The other thing you can do is, let me see, where else did I kind of mess up? Oh, okay, right up here. So my S went into my A, and I'm not super thrilled about that. So what I could do is just make this, turn that into a widened A. Then I would want to widen the S. I'd want to widen a little bit of the N. And then I'd probably just get rid of that loop and widen the D like that. Okay. Now the other thing, guys, that you can do is a little tip on how to create some shadowing or some widening of letters. This is just a little bit of a tip. So let's just say we want to have the word car, okay? And we'll do it capital. Okay, just a regular word car. Now, you can see here, my spacing right here is a little bit off, and I'd rather it be more like this. So what you can do is you always want to embellish on the same side all the way through the word. So if I embellished over here, I would want to embellish on the left side of everything as well. Now it's okay that these are thinner than this. This just gives it a little bit, it makes it go closer into the C. Now, if we were doing like, let's say we were doing car like this, and we wanted to create a shadow or make it wider. Now that's on the left-hand side. Now C, obviously, there's really only one side to C, right? But we're not going to make it over here on the A, and we're not going to make it like this on the R, okay? That doesn't look great, right? That looks really choppy. It doesn't look like it's part of the same word. You want to make it on the same side. So this would be on the left-hand side. This would be on the left-hand side. Okay? And then I'd probably do this as well. See how this looks different than this? Same with block lettering. If you're going to create block lettering, sorry, bear with me, block lettering takes a little longer. If you're going to make block lettering and you want to make it like three-dimensional, okay, you would want to come down and always go on the right-hand side. Because if you were to make your C and start your block lettering like this, and then you were to make it again like this, it looks like it's twisting. And in the way that I actually made that, that looks more like a G than it does a C. So I would have to change that somehow. Same thing with the R. Now, you're not going to do your your A. You're going to do your A on the right-hand side because that's what you did over here. Right? You're not going to make your A like this. You're not going to take it from here and then go on the left-hand side like this. You can, but you need to start with the left-hand side of your C as well. Okay, same thing with the R. You're going to want to, well, let me extend that. Go on the right-hand side and on the right-hand side. You would not want to make your R like this. If you're trying to make it match this C, okay? So you always want to shadow, you always want to extend your lettering, you always want to embellish on the same side all the way through the lettering. Don't switch it up and go from the left to the right to the left to the right. That will not look good, okay? You don't want to do that. So I hope that this was helpful to you. This right here, I hope this was helpful to you. The 4 steps are 3 font types. You can manipulate those font types any different way. If you can write your name, you can create pretty lettering. You can change the center lines. You can change the width. And then you can correct. Don't be perfect. If it doesn't turn out perfectly, it will look beautiful to other people. Trust me. But you can correct with embellishments. You can correct with line width. And messy handwriting is totally popular. Now, if you want to know how to make our verse, my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you, Job 42:5, and you want to know how exactly to place the words, what type of font to use, how to mix the different ones, what type of font to use for all the different words. If you want to know how to do that, you can sign up. That will be a free bonus when you sign up for our flagship course, Become a Bible Study Boss, okay? Or Beginner to Bible Study Boss is actually what it's called. So that link is right here, bit.ly/BSB course, and the B, S, B, and C are capitalized. So that's bit.ly/BSB course. Sign up for that, and you will be able to see exactly how I made this and how you can too, and how we can choose which lettering to go with which words, how to space out all of the different words within a verse, and continue on going and make your own, okay? I look forward to seeing you again in the Bible Study Boss course.